And we're back with round 2 coverage of the 41st Frontier Open, where we find ourselves back in Hays, Kansas. We have Daniel and Ivan back on the card. This time they are playing the East layout. This one did offer some more challenges for the kids, so it was a little bit different for them. Again, I had taken them up maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks prior to Frontier, and they both got to see both of the layouts, so it wasn't anything that they were playing blind, so they kind of knew what they were gonna expect going into this round. Outside of the wind, I mean, just normal disc golf, right? It did take me a little bit longer to get the videos up, so I apologize for those that are following the kids along. It's been a busy few month and a half, maybe busy 4 or 5 weeks since Daniel's finished really playing disc golf. He's been active with flag football. He started basketball here the last 2 weeks, so he's been pretty busy outside of disc golf. That takes up most of his summer. Ivan's been the same way. He's in middle school, so he just finished his football season. He's getting started with basketball as well, and I'm coaching Daniel's basketball team, and Ivan's going to be my assistant coach this year, so he's been pretty busy with me during the week, helping me get stuff ready for practice and helping me run drills with the kids and helping them on the offense that we are implementing. So yeah, it's been busy. It's been exciting. I mean, Daniel would like to play a little bit more, but he also loves to play any other sport that he can, if that's football, basketball. He likes soccer, although he doesn't play soccer anymore because that and football do take up most of the summer. He wouldn't be able to play disc golf, so it was either one or the other, and we decided disc golf. But as he gets older, we'll see what disc golf holds for us, because I know he wants to really do a lot more with basketball and football and baseball. So we'll see what happens going down the road. So for round 2, we find everybody back on the same card. So we once again have Hudson, we have Seven, we have James. One cool thing was that before we started the tournament, Ethan had come up and talked to me, because I think Seven's dad, Sean, and Hudson's dad, Ty, actually talked to Ethan and asked about the kids playing round 3. Typically, juniors only play the first 2 rounds. They do an award ceremony after round 2 for them, and that's it for them. They're done after Saturday.
Nice.
So,
Ivan.
we missed it there. Ivan just had a big putt. I think that was to say par, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So that was a really good shot by Ivan. But yeah, so they talked to them and asked if the kids potentially could play round 3, if that was possible. And Ethan said, yeah, that was no problem. He came and talked to me before the round started. He asked if I was cool with allowing Daniel to play round 3, and I was like, yeah, for sure. I mean, I didn't see any issue with it. I mean, we were going to be there all weekend up until Sunday anyway, as my wife, Daniel's mom, Vanessa, was also playing Frontier. So she was going to play Sunday no matter what. So I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do it. The only person that didn't join us was James. So he played the first 2 rounds, and I don't know if he did the Bison Chip this year like he did last year, but he played both rounds and then headed out. So for round 3, it was the 4 kids: Ivan, Daniel, Seven, and Hudson. So right here, the kids started out on hole 18, which I cannot remember if it was, I believe it may have been a par 4. Now that we're on hole 1, I can't remember. So Ivan, I believe it was, because Ivan did go out of bounds off the tee. He had a decent approach, left himself outside of the circle putt, and he nailed it for par. So he had a really good starting hole. Daniel, unfortunately, had a little bit of a struggle on that hole. I knew coming in that was going to be one of those, especially with the wind. No matter which direction it was blowing from, it was going to be a bit difficult. But overall, I mean, it wasn't bad. He got the quadruple bogey on that one, and then we moved on. So after hole 1, so through 2 holes, Ivan was able to get a birdie. He had a really good drive on the tee of 1. Was right inside of the circle and nailed his birdie putt. So really good job by Ivan there. So we're finding ourselves here on hole 2, 239-foot par 3. This one's just straight to the right, just goes around the curve to the right there. So Ivan sawed his off a little bit early. Daniel here going with his Draco, if I'm not mistaken. He had a really good throw too, just didn't get enough forward distance to get him a little closer. So he was just outside of the circle for his birdie attempt here. So he's going to give his a decent bid here to see what he can do. And pretty close, right in front of the basket, just hyzered right out in front of the basket there. So not a bad attempt. So easy par for Daniel. Ivan unfortunately had to just pitch out. You don't want to get in any more trouble than you need to from right there. So he pitches out, gets his par right under the basket. Daniel right here is for his par. The kids were all talking. I think Daniel had missed that James was underneath this bush on the right. And I think James was getting ready to putt, and he missed it because I think Seven's like, "Hey, did you see James?" And he's like, "No, I couldn't see him." He's like right under that bush right behind Ivan. So after that, Ivan and Daniel finished with the par on hole 2. So really good job there by both of them, which takes us to hole 3, 265-foot par 3. Pretty straightforward hole, straight down the middle, down to the right a little bit. Ivan again had a good pull. Got his, I don't know if that was his Venom or his Nuke, but he had a really good pull. He got within the circle again, if I'm not mistaken, or right on the edge of the circle. Daniel here, I think, is going with his Zodiac, which is his backup, because he ended up losing one during round 1. So this is his backup here. So a little short. He was a little disappointed, but easy approach for him. We thought that was the basket, but it wasn't. There is some chicken wire or some fence there around around that tree to the right of Ivan, so he clipped it. Fortunately, he didn't get stuck in there, so it did skip out, and I think it left him like a 10-footer maybe. And this is Ivan's birdie. So great putt by Ivan. So through, what's that, 3 holes for 18, 1, 2, well, through 4 holes, Ivan's -2, so that's a great start for Ivan, going -2 through the first 4. So yeah, so Daniel had about a 8 to 10-footer here to clean up his par. So let's see if he's able to sink this and get out of this one with the par, which he does. Which takes us on to hole 4. The juniors all played from the regular pad to the short basket. So I decided to go ahead and film all of the kids throwing this hole to see if anybody would nail an ace. Funny thing is that during warm-up this day, before round 1, Ivan and Daniel kind of threw 4 or 5 shots, and Ivan actually hit an ace, I think, with that Toro during warm-ups. So he was trying to replicate that shot during the round. So Ivan just right over the basket 7 here, a little high, and then hyzered out to the left. So not a bad throw. I think he landed in the circle, if I'm not mistaken. So now we have Daniel going up. I want to say he's throwing his soft zone, I believe, because I know he didn't have his glow tank because he lost that in Amarillo when we were down there several weeks ago. So nice little forehand flick hyzer. It looked like it was going to go, but he just a little wide and a little long. So still left himself a putt, I believe, inside the circle, right around the edge of the circle, if I'm not mistaken. So now we have Hudson here coming up. I can't remember what he was throwing, if that was a Draco or a Vila. I can't remember. I think I want to say I asked him, but I can't remember. So real good pull, another forehand.
Go.
Oh, he had the closest one, skip right off the basket, right over the sidewalk on the right. Ethan was watching, so he said that was safe over there on the right side of the sidewalk. So really good throw by Hudson, though. That would have been cool to film an ace for one of the juniors during Frontier. Unfortunately, it did not happen. James here's the last one to go. He had a good pull also, just a little lower, but he got a closer putt for his birdie there. So this is Daniel. Yeah, so Daniel's right on the edge. I see a little bit of the white there. Good bid. Got the chains, but it just didn't want to hold. So really good bid by Daniel there. So nothing more from that one. Just an easy tap in for par. And this is Ivan's birdie look here. Yep. And birdie. He thought it was gonna spit out left. It was a little bit early, but fortunately it did stick, so he got a birdie. So he's -3. So that, again, really great start so far for Ivan, and then this is Daniel's cleanup for his par. So was able to get that done, and we move on to hole 5. So hole 5 takes us to 379-foot par 3. This one did have a mando. There is a tree on the right of the tee pad. I want to say about 100 feet, 150 feet to the right of the tee pad. So you had to go to the left of that basket. I don't know if you guys see the sign. Yeah, you see the mando sign pointing there. So you have to go straight through there. The basket, I can't remember if it was just straight from the tee pad to the basket or if it goes to the right of it. But you just have to make the mando, get as far enough as you can to give yourself an easy approach. So Daniel again's throwing that Zodiac. Really good pull. Really good pull. He got about halfway there, I want to say, or maybe 3/4 of the way there, because he's throwing his freaky zone, or one of his zones that he has. So really good throw, a little out wide, playing the stability of the disc, skips up, clips that tree right in front of the basket a little bit, but it did go out to the right, so it did leave him a makeable par putt. This is Ivan's second here, so he's going to do the same thing. I think he's playing his swarm, if I'm not mistaken. He just pulls it a little bit too far to the left. Stability is going to help him here, but I think he ends up clipping one of the branches right there on that tree, so it didn't give him enough push to the right that he was hoping for. But it still left him an inside the circle putt, typically putts that him and Daniel give pretty good bids and about 60% of the time typically make. So good bid, hit the top of the band. Can't really see it there, but he did hit the top of the band for his par attempt, and then this is Daniel's par here. So Daniel left himself about a 10-foot putt or so. Nails that one. Looked like a little high, a little bit to the right, but it did stick. Unfortunately, I didn't get Ivan's tap in for his bogey there, so he did drop down to -2 after that. Daniel still +4. The only damage so far for Daniel was hole 18, their starting hole. Takes us to hole 6, 282-foot par 3. This one you could not land on any of this road parking area. If you were on the grass on the left, or on the grass on the right, on top of the dike, you were completely fine. Daniel had a really good pull there, put some ante. I can't remember if that was a Zodiac again or if that was his nuke, but he landed on top of the dike, so he was fine. This is Ivan's Z-Light nuke, if I'm not mistaken. He just puts way too much ante on it, and it ends up going, fortunately for him, to the left on the grass over there on the left, so he was safe, but it did make it for him where he had to go ahead and use a backhand, which again, if you guys have been following the channel this year, even up until last year, Daniel and Ivan don't have the biggest backhands. Ivan has started implementing his backhand this year, and it's been improving. Daniel with a really good solid bid there for his birdie. So they both don't have backhands that they rely on a whole lot. Ivan has, like I mentioned, been implementing that in his game where he's been becoming a little bit more comfortable. I've been helping him re-ask questions on the backhand, so I try to give him as much advice as I can. Stop here for a second. Ivan's birdie attempt, par putt, that was a really good bid. A little more height than he would have nailed that one first par. That would have been a great par save. But yeah, so Ivan's been a little bit more comfortable using it during his sanction rounds where he typically has good throws with them. Unfortunately, there are times that he will grip lock one, turn over one, so he's still working out the kinks with it. Daniel and I are still working on that. Our goal is to hopefully, during this off season, going into next season, is try to get him a backhand that he can rely on that gives him 150 feet, 250 feet, something to get out of trouble for him. That will help him on those holes that really call for a backhand, right? Where maybe a forehand is not the option because either you have to put a turn on it and maybe you're not comfortable with the disc that you have. So if we can get that down, Daniel will be just fine going into next season. Not to say that even if he doesn't have a reliable backhand doesn't mean he's going to be at a disadvantage. He just has to improve on his Anheuser shots with his forehand. But he's working on it. We're working on it together. So I know he wants to get a backhand down because I know he wants to, be as good as he possibly can be. So he wants to be able to compete and give himself the best opportunity to win tournaments, which is what he wants to do. Ivan there with a really good bid for his birdie. Went off the cage, off the lip, and spits out, and no chains, but he's able to tap in his par. That was Daniel's par putt there as well, and Ivan's par putt there. So the last hole, unfortunately, Ivan did take the bogey, so that did drop him down to -1, but still pretty good so far for the round for him. Daniel still at +4. So we're going on to hole 8, 412-foot par 3. This one, I want to say that the only OB was if you are to the left of the dike. So if you landed on top of the sidewalk, you were safe. But if you were over on the grass on the left of the dike, you were OB. Daniel, good pull there. Unfortunately, Ivan was trying to go for a big shot, put some ante and have it just glide up there, but he just threw it too low. So now he's got to play another long shot to the left of that big tree in front of us, which is what he's trying to do. Unfortunately, the stability of the disc just gets too much of it, and he clips the tree, and it does end up rolling right behind it. Daniel's second here. Where he landed, he wasn't comfortable because he was pretty much right in front of that tree. It didn't give him a full run up. So he really had to go stand still. He went with his champion Rhino. Unfortunately, he threw it nose up and high, so it just hyzered out right away. And actually, Ivan did not land right behind it. Looks like he did go to the right, so he's just pitching up there to get close enough to save a bogey and not let it get any harder than that. And this is Daniel's attempt at his par putt now. So we'll see if he's able to give this a ride, and just hyzered out. A little high and a little too much hyzer, so it hyzered out right above the basket. So now he's got to make that putt for his par and not let that get any harder than what it's going to be. And Ivan with a good cleanup for his bogey. So that unfortunately takes him to even, which again is still not bad, but he did have a hot start through 4 holes. He was at -2. But still, he's still playing pretty good. So even is not a bad score so far for Ivan, especially on this layout. Like I mentioned, I feel like it is a little bit harder. It is a little bit longer than the West layout. The West layout's where you want to make your strokes. And Daniel's able to save his bogey there. Doesn't let it get any harder than that. So he is at +5 through hole 8. So moving on to hole 9, 297, par 3. This is straightforward, just up on top of the dike, down past the swings to the right. So Daniel's just trying to play it actually right to the swings straight and just have it hyzer right to the basket. Unfortunately, it just flipped a little bit for him, clipped that tree right in the middle. Ivan's trying to do the same thing. He just gets his a little bit high inside of to the left of the tree, almost kicks off of it. So he got a little bit more distance. So he's really going to try to either give himself a bid at birdie or just lay up to get his par. Daniel there going with his Rhino, just a little hyzer up to the basket. I think he was within 5 or 8 feet. And this is Ivan's attempt at birdie. So he's going to give it a bid. Unfortunately, he does get it nose up and puts a way too much power on it, where he does still land in the circle. So that's the good thing for him, but he's got to make this 20-footer or so to save his par. So we'll see if he's able to save this and get out of this hole with the par. Going through, good bid, just again hits the lip of the rim. It does roll back for him, almost leaves him the same distance putt to save his bogey now. So we'll see if he's able to clean this up and not let it get hard, or not let it get more than just the bogey. So we'll see if he's able to clean this one up. I know he was pretty upset after he saw that one and it rolled away. So we'll see if he's able to not let that get in his head and he can just forget it and just sink this one for his bogey, which he does. Almost a little short, but it did stick. So not bad at all. And that does take him to +1 for the round. Overall, he's +11 for the tournament. And then Daniel's par putt, so he stayed at +5 and +10 for the tournament. Takes us to hole 10, 557-foot par 4. This one, I unfortunately did not get Ivan's first throw. I did have to visit the trees over on the right, but he did have a good first throw. Got quite a bit of distance, which you guys will see where he throws a second. Daniel's going out wide. He's trying to land on the left. Unfortunately, it just skips and rolls, gives him back to the right, where if you're on this right side, it makes it a little bit harder because you have to cut the gaps of these trees and get up to the basket. So you want to be more on the left for either a backhand or forehand. So he's trying to actually go through these trees to go left and then come back to the right, still in the opening. Unfortunately, that disc, he did put ante on it. I want to say that was a Zodiac, and I don't remember what the wind was doing. but it flipped up and went back to hyzer real quick. So it kicked and skipped to the right. So he's got to go ahead and hit a gap shot once again. So this, what you guys are seeing, Ivan here, this was off his first throw, so he's throwing 2. So he has a good throw there with his nuke. Really good distance on it. He thought he was in the circle, but his dad and I were telling him no, that he was still about 2-3 feet outside the circle. But he still left himself with an attempt at birdie, so we'll see if he's able to hit that and get back to even. This is Daniel's 3, so he again has to try to hit another gap and get as close enough to the basket to save at least his par. Good throw, got through the gap. I think that was his zone again, the soft one. So he leaves himself about a 5 to 8 footer for his par. So this is Ivan's birdie attempt here on hole 10. So we'll see if he's able to give this one a good bid and get it to stick. Going through his routine. There you go. Got a birdie there, so that's a really good putt. So that gives him back to even on the round. Daniel was laughing because he had gone up to mark his disc. I don't even know if he had his mini, but he didn't have any of his putters, so he's like, what am I doing? But when he got his putters, and yeah, he left himself about a 5 footer just to tap in for par. So I know he really was trying to get the birdie. I want to say that Ivan Hudson, I think 7 got the birdie also. I can't remember. We'll have to look at the final scorecards here at the end of the round. So hole 11, 260-foot par 3. This one's pretty blind. You're throwing straight, and it goes just a little bit down on a downward incline. Ivan had a really good throw, hits the gap with that Annie, with that Z-Lite nuke, and it skips all the way up to the basket. I want to say he might be within 10 to 15 feet. Daniel's trying to play the same line that Ivan threw. Unfortunately, he threw it a little bit more straight to the middle, so it just wanted to finish there. So it left him a bit of a tougher shot here because if you see here, this is just a cluster of trees. So he's got to hit some of the narrowest gaps. Unfortunately, that early release kicks goes right. It did leave him an opening, so this is one of the very few backhands that Daniel typically will do. So he's just trying to throw that soft rhino. Yep, just do that, the smallest gap he possibly could find to get up to the basket. It did leave him a makeable par attempt here. So we'll see if he's able to stick this one. Good release. Again, just good bid. A little bit right, it just didn't stick, but it was a very good bid by Daniel, so he's going to unfortunately tap in for a bogey there. And this is off of Ivan's first throw here, so he is he is putting for his birdie. So we'll see if he's able to get this and get back to under par for the round. You bet, another birdie for Ivan, so -1 once again, under par, so really good job for Ivan fighting back. And Daniel here is tapping in for his bogey, which will take him to double bogey. I guess I missed one. So that takes him to +7 so far. That takes us to hole 12, 250-foot par 3. Pretty simple hole. Ivan chose to go with the backhand. Got a really good throw with the backhand. I just can't remember if he threw his nuke or if he decided to go with his venom. Daniel here, because again, he doesn't have the strongest backhand or something he can trust here. He's going with his flippy Gorgon. He had a really good throw. I want to say if he doesn't hit this tree there, he's probably sliding up to that little tree right in front of him, if not past it, where he gives himself a really good chance at hitting a birdie. So still leaves him with an easy approach up to the basket, pitches up with his rhino, and gets his par. Ivan there is able to clean up his birdie. He was within about 7 to 10 feet. So really good job by Ivan fighting back, like I mentioned on the last hole, and getting back down to under par. Now he's at -2. That takes us to hole 13, 371-foot par 3. This one I did miss Ivan's first throw, but he had another absolute bomb off the tee. Got to the opening of this hole. Daniel got a good throw. It just lifted on him, and he ends up kicking into the trees, but it did end up kicking him a little bit out just into this brush. So he's got to hit this gap. This hole, you're throwing over the dike. You got to get to this opening in front of us, and then you got to throw it down where the basket is kind of guarded. It's open, but, I mean, there's trees in the way. So if you get a bad throw here, you can kick left, right. So you will have to be really precise. Ivan chose the hard route, goes into all the trees, but he did get pretty clear. He's down there, so he's putting for par. So you see here, Daniel really doesn't have many options. So he's trying to find a window to get as close enough down to the basket. So he unfortunately hit one of these trees here on his left, and it just kicked him right where he's at. So this is his, what would that be, 2, 3. So this is his birdie putt, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see if he's able to give this a run. Close, little short, but gives that'll be his double, if I'm not mistaken. And this is Ivan's par putt here. I want to say that's about 15 to 20 feet, maybe. Good bid. So he was able to clean up his par. So that to me, that's a really good hole to get a par on, because you have to get right to that opening off the tee to give yourself any chance to get as close as you possibly can on your second up to the basket. So Daniel, yes, that was a double for Daniel. This is another one where you have to hit a narrow gap off the tee, push as far as you can down the fairway, because then you're going to be putting up to the basket up on a hill. So Ivan got a good throw there, went straight and just kicked a little bit to the right, but it still is going to leave him an easy approach up to the basket. Daniel, same thing. Nice, easy, straight throw. Slides up there. I want to say Daniel threw the soft rhino. Ivan, I want to say threw I don't know if it was a swarm, because those are pretty stable, and it held pretty straight. But it was a mid-range is what he threw. So this is Daniel's second.
That's good.
Luckily for him, it didn't roll down. There are some guardian trees right there that'll stop a roll, but he did clip a little root, and it stood up, but it rolled and curled up to the left of the basket. Yeah, so this is Ivan's birdie attempt, so he's got the same look. He's going for it, is what he said when he was down there. So he gave it a good ride just to the right of the basket. So that's Daniel's tap in for par, and Ivan is coming up and going to tap in for par here in a second. There we go. All right, takes us to hole 15, 355, par 3. Ivan turned over his Z-Lite nuke. It was coming back stability-wise, but it hit the lip of the dike there, and it just ended up staying OB. There's a line of flags that is marking the fairway for hole, what would that been? Would have been 13, I think. So you have to be on the right side of those flags. I did unfortunately miss Ivan's throw when he marked his OB. So I did miss that one. So he did land up inside of the island where the basket is on. Daniel's throwing his second here.
Right at it.
He's trying to get up on the island as well. We thought he was going to land OB, but it did slide up. He was asking me, am I safe? And I was like, yeah, you're safe. That's Ivan's pitch up. I want to say Ivan's already playing either, so that would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's playing for double here so far. He's got to make that one for double, and that is Ivan. This is Daniel's par attempt. I can't remember if he was going for it. I think he said he might have been laying up, actually, because he didn't want to hit the basket and roll down and go OB. So I think he said he was just playing safe and just pitching up and taking a bogey. I think as he gets older and gets confident with his putting, I think that's probably going to be something he's going to run, which there are holes that he typically does run, even if we discuss it and we're probably thinking the best option is a pitch up. But yeah, so he's learning. I'm learning as his caddy, just to not, try to make the best decision I possibly can for him, while also letting him decide what he's going to do, because as he gets older, he's going to make those decisions, and I'm just more there as a spectator and just carrying his bag. Daniel had a good throw there. I think that was a Zodiac, got to the opening, is going to give himself not an easy, but a decent look at birdie. Ivan flips his over, takes the backdoor route. We thought he was kind of in no man's land, but he was able to sink this one for a birdie. So really good putt there. There was an opening for him to get that birdie. So that was a really good attempt for him there, and a good putt to make. Takes him back to -1 for the round. Daniel's birdie, just a little left. Did tickle the chains there, but just a little bit left. His putting was a little bit off this round. That is something that I've noticed. I know he says that when they do play 2 rounds in one day, typically his second round, he's a little bit tired from playing that first round. typically he has decent to pretty good first rounds where he does really good. And in my opinion, he had a really solid round staying there with with Seven and Hudson during round one. So this is the spot where he did end up losing his second Zodiac. We have Francisco there making an appearance, trying to hide behind the trees. He did lose his Zodiac there in the creek. So that was Daniel's third, throwing his Draco, trying to get to this around the curve. So he's pitching up there, giving it a halfway bid, so it just rolls up to the left. He was a bit disappointed in losing the disc, so these next few set of throws, and I did miss a couple of Ivan's throws here, so I do apologize for that. So I believe this is for his, bogey. So that's a good bogey make from where he was at, but he ends up finishing even for the round. This again, Daniel, this is an easy tap-in for a bogey, but he ends up making, or double bogey, ends up making a little bit harder on himself because he was upset from losing a disc, which again, that did happen the first round, happened the second round. I ended up getting another one from Nate after this round. So that is the finish for round two. So we have Ivan again, only competitor in MJ15, shooting an even 941 rated round, which is really great. Then we have Daniel finishing at plus 13 with an 804 rated round. So that dropped him to officially in third place, several strokes back from the trying to get first place. So hope you guys enjoyed the round. I will have the final round 3 coverage up on the channel here hopefully within the next week or so. If not, maybe by December. So thank you guys for watching. I know it's been a very busy summer. It's been a busy disc golf season. I know as we wind down, there's not going to be as much disc golf content on the channel, but we're going to try to do some fun things. Daniel and I have something planned for December right now, for a video for December. Whoever's watching, comment on the video, tell us how you like it. And thank you guys for everything. Thank you everybody that's supported the kids throughout the year. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and catch you guys in round 3.